Using the PIP is one of the most important tools for improving your combat skills. It helps you figure out what you're doing wrong in a fight by showing you what your opponent and you are doing. Let's start by looking at the HUD, or your heads-up display. When you target an enemy ship, two key visuals will appear. 1. The target box. This is the box that outlines the enemy ship. 2. The PIP. This is a small circle you can use to aim at your target. When in combat and your PIP remains inside the enemy's target box, it is known as fighting inside the box. We'll come back to the importance of this later. Let's understand how movement changes the position of the PIP. Think of the PIP as a mirrored version of what your opponent sees. For example, right now both my opponent and I are in a neutral position. This is also known as position 0. You can tell because the PIP is located at the center of the enemy ship. If both players were to hold this position and press forward, they would collide. Now let's look at a side-by-side so you can see how the strafes affect the PIP. Here's a left-hand strafe, a right-hand strafe, up strafe, and a down strafe. Star Citizen's PvP is very strafe dependent. A very common mistake I see newer players make is that they often apply forward thrust while the PIP is not within the box, as pressing forward or reverse thrust will not allow you to get closer to the target unless the PIP is within the box. This means if you want to stay close to enemies, you have to fight within the box. By the way, if you feel like you're learning something, please don't forget to like or subscribe. Pressing forward will also weaken the control of your PIP, since forward thrust helps push the PIP further from the box. In short, if your PIP is not inside of the box, do not press forward, unless you are trying to extend the PIP further away from the enemy ship. Now that we understand how to get closer to the enemy, let's return to the box. I want you to think of the targeting box like a bubble around the ship. Once we are close, we need to think of ourselves as the PIP. To keep it simple, just pretend that being within 150 meters is staying inside of the box. This is where tactics like attacking the wing or pushing under the belly of the craft come in handy. But that can get more complicated, and I've covered it in some of my more advanced videos, so if you haven't seen those, make sure to check out my playlist below, where you can start to learn more advanced tactics for Star Citizen combat. On a final note, on May 17th we'll be streaming a live 1v1 tournament. There's a $620 prize pool on the line, and the tournament will be hosted as a round robin. For more, check the description, and as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one.